morning, everybody, and welcome to the GSM's Pride. Hope you all had a great weekend. This week, I'm going to talk about the end of the month. So I'm curious how much weight, how much importance you as a dealer see the end of the month, the last week of the month, and also for the consumer. Are there myths that the end of the month is the best time to buy a car? Is it real? Are there reasons why you should buy a car at the end of the month? Or is it more just a thing that we've all assumed is the case? So I'm going to touch on that this week. I'm going to go over a couple of reasons why you should buy a car on the last week of the month or the last day of the month. Other reasons why it's not really that important. And also I'm going to go over from a dealer standpoint why the end of the month is so important to us, or why it's not so important to us. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. I have a lot to get done this week, so I will see you all in a bit. Would you say it is a myth that you get a better deal at the end of the month?
I'm not necessarily, but it can appear that way. It does, because even like managers and things like that, it's I guess, everybody's in the same kind of mental space when it comes to the last day of the month. But, and it's something to it, trying to close, depending on where you are in the month, you know what I mean, with numbers and things like that. You may take a deal that you would normally take early in the month to achieve a goal.
I don't think so. I mean, like thinking-wise, no. I mean, yeah, every once in a while I'll tell people, hey, I mean, it's the last week of the month, trying to make some stuff happen. Can you get in here sooner? But really, mindset-wise, I don't think so. I kind of run everything the same.
Are we talking truth, or are we talking candidly?
Candidly.
You could probably get just as good a deal at the beginning of the month as at the end of the month, especially nowadays.
We always give out good deals. It's not just the first or the end. It's whenever you come in and you're ready to buy, we're going to get you a good deal.
They can get the same deal. Yeah.
Nope, every day is the last day of the month. We'll move you forward.
Why is the last week of the month different to every other week?
Chaos. It's pure chaos. We're usually at our busiest, and we usually do, about a little more than a third of our month or so in the last week.
I mean, everybody's pushing to get that last final push of cars out, trying to create more urgency. Really, it shouldn't be any different because you should always be pushing for that, but just that mindset, it's always there just to kind of make that last little final push just to hit your numbers, I guess.
Because we all have numbers to make, and we all are working hard to get to that number.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
We suddenly gain superpowers at the end of the month when we're not where we need to be, and so all of a sudden we're selling hella cars in the last week compared to the rest of the month.
I mean, it's really not, but I mean, the urgency is just a mental thing, man.
What's different about the last week versus the rest of the month?
Nothing. Just drive, go all the time.
Well, I believe if you keep a constant work plan and execute your work plan from day 1 to day 30, 31, you should still have the same success that you do. Yes, is it crunch time? Are there hours more? Yes. But mindset, maybe from the perspective of the customer, they may be easier to close.
My language, just the verbiage I use with customers. That's it.
So just creating urgency.
Yeah, that's it.
How many cars you can get out before the end of the month?
So you're trying to achieve a goal?
Yeah.
Urgency?
Yeah, a goal.
What happens if you're already at your goal?
Like make a new goal.
Have to work bell to bell, and I don't necessarily like it, but oh well, I have no choice.
What changes for me? You go into basically hardcore mode. You try to put on as much gross as you can. You try to get out as many cars as you possibly can.
So like I said, we was going to talk about this week was the difference between the rest of the month and the end of the month, and why the end of the month is so important. And the reason I put the quotation marks up is because things have actually changed a lot right now. So in the past, the end of the month would be a little bit more intense and a lot more pressure, purely because what tends to happen is, especially domestic brands, most people are chasing a number from the manufacturer. Now, we've talked about this before about gross profit. Now, gross profit really wasn't a big thing for us, way back when. The only reason things have changed a little bit right now is because of the supply and demand situation. So, but that's going to change. That's going to go back to normal. So basically, what's happening is, we can't get vehicles. Vehicles are scarce, so prices are rising on vehicles, and they're rising for us. So the profit margins are a little bit better, but they're not like astronomically better. It's just a little bit of a different scenario. But here's my point. On a normal standpoint, dealerships are always chasing a number from the manufacturer. So we talked about gross profit. The gross profit, it was a lot less than people understood it to be. Now, what basically happens is and then you ask yourself, how does a dealership make money? Well, how the dealership makes money, especially a new dealership, is simple. What they do is they get themselves their dealer cash. Now, every dealer is different. Every manufacturer is different. They all have different ways of getting it and different qualifications. But the difference is, when you were trying to chase a number, that's where you would gain most of your gross. So in theory, yes. Could you get a better deal at the end of the month? Yes. Only if that dealership's really chasing a number that they desperately need to get to. So that being said, there is a little bit of a difference there. But right now, there really isn't a big difference. And you probably heard a couple of the guys say this word is, every day is the last day of the month. It really is. At the end of the day in sales, every single sale counts. It's all important. It all matters. And they're all pushing as hard as they can. Now, will it get a little bit more intense at the end of the month? Yes. Because there's a lot of people chasing a number, chasing their goal. They're not necessarily where they need to be. Like Bijan said, they may have even changed their goal. So yes, they are pushing, and they've got to try and get those in. But like we've talked about before, and you've heard me say on many occasions, that the end of the month and the beginning of the month is the two worst times for me for several reasons. And realistically, the months kind of merge all together. It's really just one big long year or years. But we are judged on a monthly basis. The manufacturers want monthly numbers. So yeah, there is a little bit more intensity at the end of the month to get that. But from a consumer standpoint, especially at my dealership, I'm going to tell you right now, you'll get as good of a deal at the beginning of the month as you would at the end of the month. Nothing really changes. And like John said,
well, I believe if you keep a constant work plan and execute your work plan from day 1 to day 30, 31, you should still have the same success that you do. Yes, is it crunch time? Are there hours more? Yes. But mindset, maybe from the perspective of the customer, they may be easier to close.
I 100% agree with what John said. If you set out your plan correctly and actually follow that plan and follow the strategy that you have in place, the month will work itself out. A lot of people like Lauren right now, she's panicking because she's not having a great month. So she's trying to put all her effort into getting that month done this month. And yeah, she's right. She has to work the last week of the month. But at the end of the day, if she'd have actually planned a little bit better and got a little bit further along the path earlier, then maybe she wouldn't necessarily have to be here. But that's really all I wanted to talk about, was just the difference. So yes, if you want to answer the question I asked earlier on, is it a myth? Yeah, it's a myth. The end of the month is important for us, but it's also, from a consumer standpoint, we want the deal regardless, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter what day of the month it is. Guess what? We're all trying to get the same result, and that's you're coming in to buy a car and we're looking to sell one. So don't be under any illusion that for some reason you get a way better deal at the end of the month. You may, on the standpoint that we may take a deal to hit a number specifically that we may not have done. But in reality, we'll still work that deal just as hard, because a deal now versus deal at the end of the month, or even the beginning of the month, is just the same. So that's where we're at on that. So I'll see you all in a bit. That's all we got time for this week. Thanks for tuning in as always. Please hit that post notification bell. Keep tabs on what we're doing. Like the video. I hope you got some insight on the end of the month and why it is or isn't important. You got a little bit of insight from myself and a little bit of insight from the salespeople specifically of how they feel and what kind of drives them at the end of the month. You know, keep those comments coming. I really appreciate those. Need to get some feedback on what you guys want next. Got a couple of things coming up, a really big one in a couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about, and I'll keep you posted on that one. So as always, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscription button and keep us going, and I'll see you all next week.
If you yell at me about not getting deals turned in, it's your fault.